News from the White House. We have update of the Watergate affair involving President Nixon.
President Richard Nixon, avid Republican, has been accused of sending burglars into the Watergate Hotel, where the Democratic National Committee, or DNC, is staying. Alleged burglars tried to wiretap phones and steal important documents.
Nixon has since been suspected of not being truthful. Hundreds of thousands of dollars in hush money, or money trying to cover up an investigation, was provided to the burglars. The FBI investigators think this crime may be more serious than we thought because Nixon's abuse of his presidential power and obstructing justice.
Many protests in the Capitol are urging Congress to impeach the president. The president has been struggling to protect the films captured during the extent of the crime. He claims his private executive power allowed him to keep said footage. Many similar stories are being stated by the media, but we're here with the one man who really knows. We're here now with an exclusive interview with the president.
Welcome, Mr. President.
It's an honor to be here.
So, Mr. President, what do you think about your alleged involvement in this scandal?
Yeah, is it a bit hot in here to you?
Sir, it's the middle of winter.
Well, you need to get the heat fixed in this building. Okay, on to the question. I refuse to acknowledge any conspiracies involving the Watergate scandal. I had nothing to do with it. And honestly, I am offended at the unpatriotic thoughts of my fellow Americans. You know, the ones who voted for me.
And what about the copies of your re-election campaign phone number that was found with the burglars' fittings?
They could be fans of mine. I do not control what these felons do or do not carry with them.
The tapes from the night of the burglary have not been seen by anyone because of your keeping them. Does that not seem the least bit suspicious to you?
I have viewed the tapes numerous times, and I assure you, there is nothing too suspicious. I've decided to keep them for security reasons. I am the president, after all. I have rights.
You see, that's the problem. When you say there's nothing suspicious, there's no way of telling whether you are actually telling the truth or not. No offense, President Nixon, but your story seems, well, quite shallow.
What is there to tell you? What kind of world is it where a country doesn't trust their own elected leader? Listen up here, you young folk. You were the ones who voted me into this office. And if that isn't enough, I don't know what is.
Would you like to elaborate on that?
I've already gone into detail. Are you hard of hearing?
On to another topic. Many citizens think you should be impeached or kicked out of office. What do you have to say about that?
These Americans are the green earth hippie people who want a world without war. They're destroying capitalist America, a system that has worked and been used for a long time. Why would you listen to those Greenpeace hippies?
Well, Mr. President, thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to have an interview with us.
It was a pleasure.
Anyways, that wraps up our first segment of our two-part program. We'll be right back after this message.
Solving long multiplication and division problems can be quite a nuisance. Students these days struggle to complete math homework and tests, not because of lack of knowledge, but simply because it takes too much time. Well now, the pocket calculator has finally been invented. This portable machine proficiently does your math for you.
Now, instead of writing everything out, you can simply press the buttons to represent each number and operation for the equation that you are working on. When you have completed typing the equation, press the equal sign and the answer will appear on the screen.
This is amazing. It only took like 5 seconds. It takes half as long as it usually does.
Teachers, parents, the pocket calculator came out 2 days ago. 1972 is the year that will be remembered for this invention. You must seize this opportunity now.
Wow, guys, I just did 878 times 78.
Oh my gosh, can we all have one of our own?
Why, of course. The starting price has now dropped to just under $150. Thank the company Pockettronic for finally revolutionizing the calculator and making it small enough to be able to carry around.
Also, don't forget that in December of this year, HP will introduce another evolution of the calculator, the HP35, the first calculator with scientific functions. This invention, of course, will also be portable. Help today's young generation get through the grueling workload easier. 1972 just made our youth's lives a lot easier.
Call 919-555-666 now to seize this amazing opportunity to get the very first pocket calculator for $30 off. You heard me. Get the very first pocket calculator, which does your math for you for $120. Make your math life 100 times easier now.
On the international level, President Nixon will be taking a trip to the People's Republic of China, or PRC. It is an important step towards normalizing relations between the U.S. and China. It marks the first time a U.S. president has visited the PRC, which is currently considered one of our country's foes.
It will also create an open trade policy which allows goods to be traded internationally between our two countries. This visit will end the 25 years of separation between our two countries.
Before being elected into office, Nixon spoke of the urgency for better relations with the PRC, which the U.S. did not maintain diplomatic relations with. Near the beginning of his first term, Nixon and National Security Advisor Henry Kissinger started dispatching hints for closer relations to the PRC.
After a complete series of these hints by both the People's Republic of China and the U.S., Henry Kissinger went on unknown diplomatic missions to China, where he met with Premier Zhou Enlai. On July 15, 1971, Nixon announced that he was going to China. He plans to meet with Premier Zhou Enlai and expand the cultural contacts between our two countries.
When President Nixon reaches Peking on Sunday night for a whole week this year from February 21st to 28th, the visit will allow China's images to be viewed by the American public for the first time in 20 years. During the week, President Nixon and his advisors will enter concrete discussions, including an interview with Chairman Mao Zedong.
At the same time, the First Lady, Pat Nixon, will be visiting schools, hospitals, and factories throughout the cities in Beijing. The cities Shanghai and Hangzhou will also be visited by First Lady Pat Nixon and the American Press Corps. President Nixon is naming this the week that changed the world.